Alright, so I'm going to talk to you guys about these brushes and whether you should buy one or not. Of course, this was given to me at a show, so normally I would not buy one of these. And this is a Wooster and it has a rubber handle. I guess that's kind of okay because, it gives you a little more weight on the end of the brush. But normally I don't buy these. I usually will, if I have a need for it, it's usually because I'm behind a cabinet like this one. And I have to paint in a very tight area. Sometimes I'll just use a piece of tape and put it on the baseboard and just kind of bump the roller into it. I probably normally would do that, but I have this free brush, so I figured I'll use it. And then when I'm done, will I clean it? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe just throw it out. One of the things about these kind of brushes, some guys like them, they use them, and here's the problems with them. Number one, when you put it in your paint bucket, whether you use a paint bucket or you use a deuce, especially if you use a deuce, what always ends up happening at some point is people go, oh, I never do this, I never do that. Well, about every 3 or 4 jobs, you're going to pull your drop, you're going to bump into your bucket for just a little bit, and it's going to knock your brush over, and your brush is going to end up in the paint like that. And what happens, then it goes all up inside the heel, and the brush is pretty much, at that point, is it worth cleaning? Sometimes, it's so hard to get the paint out of all the heel that sometimes the brushes are just no good. I mean, you can wash it and wash it and wash it and take, 30 minutes to wash up a brush. But anyway, that's one of the reasons. The other thing is even in the regular paint bucket, it tends to get paint on the handle. Remember, if you listen to me when I talk about this, you get paint, you hold your brush like this. You'll hold your brush normally like this, right? If you're a painter. You hold your brush like that on the metal. Okay, and if you get paint on the handle or too much paint on the metal, what happens is you end up going from your brush, touching the door handle, getting paint on the door handle, getting paint on the cupboard handles, getting paint everywhere. By the end of the day, you've got to clean up a whole big old mess. So the best thing to do is always to keep this part clean. Now, when you have one of these type of brushes and you put it in your bucket, and you drop it down your bucket, a lot of times it doesn't go out of the top of the paint bucket, even on one of these kind of buckets here. And it'll get paint all over the end of it, and you get paint on your hands, you get paint on your door handles, you get paint everywhere. So you almost always, when you're painting, your hands should look about like this. A little bit of paint here and there. You're constantly wiping with a rag, but you always have your hands clean. So anyway, do I use these? No, I don't use them. No, I don't recommend them. The short handle brushes. The other problem is the nice thing about having a long handle brush is the weight distribution. So on this one, being that it's rubber, it kind of makes up for that. It's a little bit heavier on this end. But on a regular brush, when you cut the handle off, usually at that point, I'm going to toss it. So I'll use, if I have a little job like that to do where I have to get behind a cabinet, usually I'll take one of my brushes that's almost completely worn out, and I'll just cut the handle off, do my job, throw it away, and it's out of there. So the short handle brush, I'm not sure really why they made them, but I guess they made them for the guys who use the little inappropriate buckets. You ever seen those little buckets with a little handle? You kind of hold it in one hand. Every time you move and you turn around and somebody talks to you and you turn around and you spill paint. Those are the kind that brush is good for, which is not, if you're a painter, that's not you. So anyway, would I buy one of these? No. No, not at all. Wouldn't recommend it. Stay away from them. Use a full handle brush. It's better for painting. If you have to reach something far away, you can grab the end of the handle, which you normally don't do, but you have that option. You lose it with this one. Wouldn't buy one. Talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll keep them coming.